Welcome to episode 25 of News for the Blues, the bite-sized show brought to you by the Unholy Trinity Everton podcast. Delighted to be back. What a good first week it's been with that win against Crystal Palace last weekend in the first game of the Premier League season. And on to Preston on Wednesday with a nice 4-0 comfortable EFL Cup win there. So clean sheet in both games, 6 goals scored. Thierno Barry, seen as a prime Thierry Henry. It's all going very well, but it's a lot of things to discuss as we enter the final few days of the transfer window, and obviously a big match for us tomorrow with our first away game of the season in the Premier League, away at Bournemouth. Behind me, the shirt of the day is the 2007-8 home shirt, a little bit similar to this season's with the little amber trim. On there, reminds me very much of Yakubu, if I'm not mistaken. Lovely shirt. Obviously, I think a lot of the Umbro stuff around that time was very nice, but that's one of the nice home shirts in the collection. But on to obviously the football club and what's going to go on, and obviously looking ahead to the game tomorrow. Probably best to start in relation to transfers, I'd say. A lot of stuff came out yesterday with Iliman Ndiaye, the main talking point. Manchester City apparently opening talks or about to open talks with Everton in regard to a move for Iliman Ndiaye. Figures getting quoted, £80 million in and around that figure. Jack Grealish obviously getting added to any kind of deal potentially. Apparently, according to him, he's had there's other clubs at the table, but he wants to come back to Everton. Whether that happens, I think, will depend on whether Iliman Ndiaye goes to Manchester City. It looks more and more likely, doesn't it? It's got a feel of, if they offer us the right money, Everton aren't going to turn it down. And then Jack Grealish will come the other way. Whether it's part of the deal, whether it's a separate deal, who knows? But that's how things currently look. The manager was quizzed on that today. Obviously, he's not going to come out and say, oh, yeah, they've been in touch, we're just discussing the fee. He talked it down, said there's been no bid as far as he's aware. He said we're not in a habit of selling our best players, etc., etc. You know, it's sound bites, I suppose, isn't it? You know, he can't come out and say what's truly going on. The proof will be whether Iliman Ndiaye is at training at Finch Farm on Wednesday morning. So we'll watch that one with great interest. And obviously, from our perspective, we don't want to be losing one of our best players. You know, I think he started the season fairly well. He was quite lively on Wednesday. I think he put in a really good performance on Saturday against Crystal Palace as well. So, you know, you look at his performances and they don't smack of a player who's pushing for a move. But as we know, he's turned down around 3 contract offers as well in the last few months. So if Manchester City pay the money, I'm sure that Iliman Ndiaye will leave the club, which is really, really sad to say. Away from that, you're looking at the right-back situation. Again, it's boring. You know, you look at the likes of Munoz, potentially now Forrester at the table, trying to get that deal done. All the talk since we did the manager wants Douay from Strasbourg. Can it happen? Currently, financially, no, because the price seems to be far too high. So there's a lot of things to sort in the final. So we're having now sort of 4 days or so, 5 days of the transfer window. Right back being the main one. Obviously the NGI situation. You know, what do we do if he does go? Do we throw money at a longer term winger, or do we go for the short term option in Jack Grealish? That's the question that we've all got. Do we do anything else? The manager was asked about Jake O'Brien and Michael Keane. There's been a little bit of chatter about both. Apparently Jake O'Brien wants to be playing centre half. I think it's been quite evident really, the fact that we haven't seen him playing right back. Mailer Rowe's been playing there in the first couple of games. Jake O'Brien, you know, didn't even get a starter at centre half against Preston. Michael Keane started the game with James Tarkowski. So something there obviously has definitely gone on. Michael Keane linked to West Ham yesterday as well. The manager said there's been no bids for either player. A lot of moving parts in the final few days, and a lot can change, a lot can happen. Personally, you know, I always thought that Jake O'Brien will come in and be that partner with Jared Brantwaite. Obviously, James Tarkowski is the club captain. He started the first 2 games, so it's a real shame that Jake O'Brien feels that he's not going to get minutes at the football club. And I don't blame him. He's a centre-half who sacrificed 18 months to play right back. Done as good a job as he can probably do. You know, he's 6'6". He's a big lad. He's not a full-back. Done well in some games, struggled in other games, but he's a centre-half. So I do understand, obviously, the frustration. Funnily enough, the manager was asked about, obviously, players' versatility. And Maitland Nolan in particular, obviously, has been playing right back. And he just says he doesn't complain, wants to play, wants to get minutes, wants to show what he can do, always wants to try and impress. And he likes that attitude in players. He mentioned, he name-checked James Garner as another one who's played left back, right back, obviously, as well as centre midfield. Harrison Armstrong, who's had to play a little bit wider at times last year. So it was a little bit interesting, I thought, that, again, Jake O'Brien, who played 18 months at right back, doesn't get a mention there. So I think if the right bid comes in for O'Brien, he's going to be one who could leave. But again, it begs the question, if you're bringing someone else in, you're going to have to get the deal done quickly, and you're going to have to replace, because the manager said the squad's small. How many times has he said in the last sort of, 4 or 5 days about trying to bring bodies into the football club? So he knows the squad is small, and we've got a lot of work to do to get the squad to a point where us as fans as well, are satisfied with the work that's being done. Injuries, the only real question marks remained over Hayden Hackney rolled his ankle in the Palace game. He said he's touch and go for the game tomorrow. To be honest with you, I don't think he would have given them minutes against Preston. Though he said James Garner might not have started against Preston if Hackney was fit. But I think given the injury he had at the back end of last season for Middlesbrough, they are trying to protect him. Like Jared Branthwaite, there was no chance he was going to play against Preston, and he didn't, and rightly so. Although he was spotted at the driving range by our very own Pete, at Formby Hall on Wednesday. So I think he's all okay. Jared Branthwaite, sorry. So I think he'll be fine for tomorrow. Christian Norgard, the manager, said a little bit concerning this, that he's not making great progress in regards to his injury and doesn't see him coming back anytime soon. So a bit of a strange one. No real confirmation as to what's going on what the injury actually is. We're not going to see him for a little while. And James Garner mentioned again, obviously started against Preston. As I said, he said he might not have done if Hayden Hackney was fit, but he needs minutes. He's probably off his level, understandably so. Rusty had no pre-season. Obviously came off the bench against Crystal Palace, started the game against Preston. So he's working up to getting back to full fitness. Will he start tomorrow? A lot will probably depend on whether Hayden Hackney makes the game. A few more things brought up in today's press conference. Thierno Barry is being mentioned. Obviously scored 4 goals in 2 games. Great start of the season for him. Looks happy, looks confident. Obviously goals breed confidence. The manager seemed a little bit critical of him post Preston, not in terms of the fact he scored 3 goals, but the fact obviously there's still things for him to improve on. He's a difficult man to please, David Moyes, but he spoke a little bit more positively today, saying obviously how much that Thierno Barry's been trying to improve himself. He said sometimes you've got to do that, you've got to go away. Obviously, you see nowadays in before pre-season kicks off, players go away and they get their own coaches, do a bit of work in the summer when they're on holiday. That seems to be the modern way, and Thierno Barry's certainly done that. But he said, goals bring confidence, which is what we're seeing from him as well. And he's definitely more settled, isn't he? And it's great for us to see. The manager said overall the first couple of games, obviously happy with how they've gone. 6 goals scored, none conceded. He said it's nice to see us creating more chances. Could have scored more goals really, especially against Preston on Wednesday. I think we had 29 shots. Even the Palace game, there was a few chances that we missed there that you think we should have done a little bit better with. So we're creating more, which is exciting. Iliman Ndiaye is a big part of that, isn't he? So that's why if we lose him, you're taking that away. So the manager overall is looking obviously ahead to tomorrow, going into a game which we know is difficult. Mentioned last season we went there and won. Obviously Jack Grealish scored the goal, and we said how good our away following is. I mean, I was at Preston on Wednesday. There were 5,500 there, packed out the stand behind the goal there. But everywhere we go, Everton fans will travel, and it's a long journey down to Bournemouth. A lot of work going on at their ground actually as well. So I think there's a couple of little changes. So anyone going tomorrow, in terms of how you get in and things like that, have a little look. Social media and the Everton site should cover it because it's a little bit different. But it's a tight ground, it's a difficult ground to go to. You've got a new manager. David Moyes says he knows a bit about him. He's got that Red Bull DNA in him. We know they're a difficult side. They played pretty well at Man City last week. Unlucky to come away with a 2-1 defeat there. Obviously, City went on to score a couple of fairly late goals to win the game. So we know it's going to be hard, even though we've got a new manager. The side is pretty much unchanged. So it's a really tough ask tomorrow. But we've started the season really well, haven't we? So we should be going there full of confidence, thinking we can create chances and score goals. And let's go there and let's try and win the game. I think we'll see anything in terms of whether it's a draw or a win as a positive, because it is so difficult down there. But let's keep that momentum going before obviously we welcome Manchester United to Hill Dickinson Stadium next weekend. A couple more things before I sign off. A friend of ours, you might know Dave Curtis. He was on the B side a good few years ago. He used to work for Everton in the community. He's asked me to share if we can do. There's a 4-team charity tournament happening on the 12th of September. It's a Saturday at the AFC Railway Club. Loads going on down there for the kids. Loads of activities, obviously food and drink, raffles, inflatables, all sorts going on. As I say, 4-team tournaments. Kick-off is 2 o'clock. You can get in from 1 o'clock, I think, and it supports Clare House. So if you want to get down there and support them, that'll be fantastic. And as I said last week, make sure you do download the Finalysis app as well. It seems to be getting bigger and bigger. Loads more people seem to be on there this season compared to last season. Really good place to discuss the Blues with fellow Evertonians. Obviously, your match reviews, your player ratings, normal posts, share your lineups, rate the referee, say rate the players, all that kind of thing as well. Good conversation going on without the toxicity of other social media platforms. And that's me for today. We'll be back ourselves on Sunday for the main show to look back on that trip to Bournemouth tomorrow, and no doubt discuss some more transfer stories as well whilst we're there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I'll catch you then.